Welcome back to the Everything But the Bottle podcast. You are here with Master Distiller Rabbi Ben Terabello, Master Distiller at Terabello Distillery, and CEO of TTBmath.com, the software that you need in order to be able to focus on your craft, be it whether you're a winery, a brewery, or distillery. Let's break right on in, and that is the fermentation process. Fermenting seemingly is, at least when you were home crafting, an easy process. Take yeast, throw it into something with sugars. Wine, which is the grapes, might have its own native yeast. Beer or whiskey. Beer would have its grains, whichever recipe you decide to make for standard ingredients, or distilling, which is any of the grains, or bourbon, corn. All these are truly a simple process. Well, corn, you might need an enzyme to get it started, or use rye or barley. However, fruits can get a little tricky. You need to ensure that they're clean before you start fermenting. They might not have yeast, and you might need to buy yeast. But here's the real trick. Temperature control is absolutely a must when you ferment. If you do not document the temperature control, just ask your wife how bread turns out in the winter and the summer. She's going to make the face and say, they are very different. The first step is to document the different fermentations and the different times. See, if you start off in the spring, your fermentation, in particular beer, where you don't have much room for, will taste very different than in the fall. You may very well want to plan a cycle of beers as a nano brewer, a spring beer, a fall beer, a winter ale, or whatnot. Not because it brings in buyers. Of course it brings in more buyers. You're creating variety. You need to do this simply because you will have it difficult to replicate what you made before. It's that simple. Temperature control is important. And you want to run an efficient and cost-efficient place. Grapes are seasonal. You only have twice a year or once a year to do it. Temperature is generally the same, within reason. Distilling, hey, it's going to go through the whiskey still and age in a barrel. Now, many of you are going to say, so? Aging in the barrel is a tremendous part of the flavor. And truth be told, you could always blend it. But how many of you blend beers? Let's be honest, who blends a beer? You make a beer and you bottle it. It is very important to recognize that temperature plays a huge role. Just ask my mom when I made a beer in the boiling hot summer, in the garage, what it tasted like, and made chewing dirty stacks taste delicious. You don't want to do that. Now, you're about to start the recipe. Make sure you have the right yeast for the... Don't use a winter yeast that needs it to be cooler. Or a lager. In the fall or spring. It's not going to work. And definitely not the summer. You use the wrong yeast in the summer when it's hot, it's going to taste It's important. Get it done right. Okay? Now, a cool part about that, if you use ttbmath.com, we can document it all. And I'm not going to make a sales pitch, but ttbmath.com is the best software in the industry for documentation. Here's my number, 551-238-7791 if you want some info on that. You can record temperatures, you can record the humidity, we can even automate it with IoT with your Nest. Anyways, that's for another time. You must take care of every detail for your brew to be successful. People hate coming in and saying, it's not what I expected. Last time I bought it was more bubbly, or it had more of a sour or higher alcohol taste. You need consistency at a cost-efficient rate. Yes, you can control your warehouse's temperature with air conditioning and heating, and you might need to. But the smaller, the less you turn on the air conditioner in your house in the summer, it costs more than running in the winter, right? If you can plan your schedule accordingly, with the right documentation, so you know, and that's where ttmath.com steps in, you will save a boatload of money. You'll have your seasonal beers, which brings in a steady stream of customers, and your wallet will be a whole lot happier. See you all tomorrow. Thank you for watching.